How's it going, everyone? Where do we want the music? Out there? Let me know. Hopefully that does it. Okay. Guys, here we are. It's Thursday. Hope you're all doing great. Just having a quick look at chat, make sure I'm not missing anything crazy. Sorry about that with the reference images. Yes, it was a quick fix, but thanks for the heads up. I'm sick with the flu. I need pity. Oh. Can we get a collective for Rick? Teacher is here. Teacher is here. Teacher is ready to teach. Which means I actually need to move my drawing board for a minute because I want to look at something. Let me move you guys out the way and move you over here for a second. Actually, just let me, yeah. Yours isn't loading. Margie, try, are you talking about the reference? Try the, try refreshing the page, because I had to make a quick fix and you may have been on the page before I made the fix. Thus, you wouldn't get the fix unless you refresh the page. Sorry, let me... There we go. You guys can see my screen, I'm guessing. I want to talk a little bit about the ribcage. I actually want this to be the first of a series. We're very loosely calling it as basically a study of the upper torso, but that encompasses an awful lot of things. We've looked at the back to some degree. What I'd like to look at primarily today, at least in our study section, is the front and the rib cage and the shoulder girdle. What is the shoulder girdle? The shoulder girdle is essentially from the manubrium, the clavicles, and it actually includes the scapula. You could say it also includes the humerus to some degree, because they help influence what the shoulder girdle does. You raise your arm, for example, the scapula and the clavicle go up, thus they are all obviously connected. So as I said, this is going to be the first of a few where we're going to look at the large idea. We'll look at the rib cage, fine, but then we're looking at the scapula, we're looking at the clavicles. I want to look at the way that the pectoral muscles sit in all of this madness. The deltoids, the muscles of the upper arm. All of these things are ultimately connected to some degree or another, right? So I wanted to look at these images just real quickly, just because I want to also just give some clarity to things that we've already discussed in the past. I want to look at this image to start with. Let me just move my keyboard back over here. Okay. I'm going to assume you guys can see all of this just fine because, you know, I don't know. Chat has gone spookily quiet. You were all chatting away before class and then suddenly you've all gone quiet. Okay, let's look at this. Which is fine. Quiet is good, but sometimes I wonder if I'm still even streaming. Okay. We're looking at top down here, right? Imagine this is the front of the form here, right? Are you guys seeing everything okay? Okay, you're paying attention. Um, okay, so we're looking down on the form. This is the sternum sitting in here, right? That's this bone that comes down here. The manubrium obviously sitting in here, etc. Look at the way, we've discussed this before, but I think it's really interesting. So obviously this is the cutout for the neck, right? Let me just remove these red lines. And this is the spine sitting here. Look at this. What I want to bring to your attention is here. We're looking at this with the clavicle, right? Which is obviously sitting here. Look at the shape, the S-like shape of the clavicle. Really important for us to understand that. Really helps give a sense of understanding if we can bring some of that curvature into the clavicle rather than, like, from when you're looking at the figure standing straight on, it's going to be, you know, will you be able to see that curve? Maybe not, but it won't take much movement for that curve to become evident to some degree, and we want to try and exploit that, right? So it's a lovely thing. But if we look at the more simple diagrammatic drawing up here, look at this idea, right? This sitting in here. This is essentially what we can call like a wishbone system on a car, right? It's the same kind of idea. And, you know, imagine wheels are here instead of shoulders. And you can see that same idea here. The clavicle, the ridge of the scapula kind of sitting here. We've got the muscles of the trapezius sitting in here, coming up to the occipital ridge, if we could see it, right? Kind of doing this type of idea. But it's really useful because we don't often see this angle or this view of our subject, at least not to this extreme. So for us to understand conceptually that we've got this, I think is really important. Now, what is creating that? That comes back to this lovely thing that we've discussed so much, which is the acromion process. Now that's coming off the scapula. Scapula's kind of, well, the scapula's kind of sitting in here, right? What is this, you might be wondering? This little thing right here. That's actually called the coracoid process. Let me just move my red lines so you can see it on the diagram again. This is all part of the scapula from the top view. Supraspinatus muscle sits in here, right? Just to give context. Okay. We talk all the time about how important the acromion process is. It's one of my major landmarks. Why is it so important? Well, as we've discussed many times, the deltoid kind of connects it's kind of like the bridge, right, between the front and the back of front of the form, the back of the form. It acts as a bridge. The deltoid muscle comes off here, kind of thing, does this type of idea, right? And when the arm goes up, that little pit of the neck or the pit of the shoulder is right there. That's the acromion process. Super useful. The coracoid process, which is sitting in here, is worth mentioning. It gets an honorable mention. Why? Because the coracobrachialis muscle, the little muscle that sits in kind of just near the armpit, right? That is between the bicep and the tricep, coracobrachialis. You see it usually like a little teardrop muscle sitting there. That's actually connected to the coracoid process. And on very, 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 very thin subjects, you can even see a little dent right around here, a little protrusion. You can see business. That tends to be the coracoid process, right? Okay. So I think it's, once again, I think this is a lovely angle to be able to look at things that we don't often see, right? let's have a quick look at the rib cage here. Look at the way that this front plane, we got the, this is the front of the form, obviously. Look at this coming across the form like this. This is the front plate of the sorry, something fell on the floor. What was that? Nobody knows. The front plate of the rib cage, right, which is actually it's not bone. It's more of like a connective what do you call it? I'm blanking now. It'll come back to me. Point being is, we want to be thinking about this transition, right, down the form here and here. The fact that the front of the rib cage is a flat plane. We get drilled into our heads, oh, the rib cage is like an egg. Yeah, kind of, sort of, but not really, right? Like in its most simplified idea, yeah, I guess you could use the egg analogy, but you can see how quickly that analogy kind of falls apart, right? It's a beautiful bit of architecture, the rib cage. So we tend to shorthand when we're doing the arch of the rib cage, and we tend to just do this, right? And we kind of move on, and we think of it in those very, very simple terms. One thing that you'll notice though with the rib cage is this transition comes like this point right here. I think it is worth us understanding that exists. Do I have, let me see, there was a, I want to pull up oh no, we won't be able to see it here, unfortunately. We could actually have a quick look at this though. This is the rib cage from the side. So we've got two floating ribs, which are ribs 11 and 12, but we've got 10 main ribs from here to here. It's at the 7th rib that the arch of the rib cage starts, right? Coming down, obviously, like what we're seeing here. Sorry, I need to get my train of thought. I want to be able to look, we're going to look at this from a different angle, but I want you to kind of understand, look at the way that these ribs go all the way back, and then they're connecting, obviously connecting at the spine. But I want you to look at the angles, and when we're looking at our model today, I want you to really, we normally talk about simplifying the rib cage, right? Simplify, take away detail. I think there's a lot to be said for that. But today, I really want you to look at rib direction change as we look at from the back of the form or the front of the form. See how the ribs are, and that's why I gave you this image, because we're doing a side image where we can see the ribs. So I want you to be able to understand what it is that you're looking at. See, once again, there's our acromion process sitting right there, right? There's that coracoid process sitting in right there. And this is obviously, this is where the humerus, the head of the humerus attaches. Okay. So look, I think that these are all worth looking at in your own time as well. I've included a couple of other images, and for those of you who are members, obviously all of these images are in the reference pack for today. But now you can start to see how the bicep or the pectoral muscles we talk about the way that they're connected about 1/3 ish or halfway along the clavicle here. We can see the pectoral muscle coming down, kind of coming down in this direction, attaching to the humerus. But look at the way that these overlap, right? Look at the way that this top part overlaps what's going on here. You can almost think of the pectorals kind of as having sections to it, right? So I want you to, take a look at these in your own time and try and understand what it is that you're looking at, Once again, got a lot of business going on in here. Look at the way that the deltoid, the shoulder muscle, is attaching to the clavicle there. Look at the way the pectoral's there, and then look at what we have here. This is important. Let me go to a different color just for emphasis. This gap sitting right there. Now, this is important. Let's open, well, any one of these will do. Let's look at this one. Okay, so this is obviously a photo of the écorché. Deltoid is here. Pectoral is here. That's that same gap right there. Trapezius attaches here. Sternocleidomastoid attaches here and here. And you get this little gap right here. Okay? So in here, obviously in here, and here. Why do I mention that? Because you are actually going to see little pockets of shadow. Potentially, you're going to see little pockets of shadow here, here, and here, and probably in the pit of the neck too. Now you know why you're seeing them, and you can respond accordingly. Okay? But I think that it's something that you will see time and time again. And then once again here we just have a really nice kind of example of the articulation of the humerus and how the clavicle responds to that. Right, same thing here. Okay, I think that's enough show and tell unless there's any questions. Not seeing any right off the top of my head. Okay. Daily doodle, ambient occlusion, right? Daily doodle, you've got to give context to what you're talking about. I'm assuming you're referring to what we were talking about last stream. Yes, that is ambient occlusion is one term. Subsurface scattering is the CG term, I think, for the same thing. So, okay, let me get my drawing board back up and let's draw. I hope that is useful, guys. I've probably not explained it with the level of clarity that I had hoped, but hopefully it starts the conversation, right, about what it is that we're looking at and what it is that we're doing. Okay. Let me pull up my reference. Here we go. Let me move chat back over here and start drawing. We only have 4 poses today. Partly because these are super hard poses, and I think that we're going to spend all our time on them. You're very welcome, Tina. I'm glad that could help. The insertion point of the deltoids would be nice to reiterate, if that's okay. Of course it would be okay. Now, Let me just bring this back up real quick. We'll just look at this just for 1 second. So the deltoid, if you imagine, you can see, the one thing I don't care for on this model is the degree which the scapula, oh sorry, the clavicle is kind of covered by the muscle. The muscle doesn't really obscure the clavicle to this degree, in my opinion. Anyway, the deltoid is attaching all the way along the clavicle, I think about 1/3-ish of the way along. Interestingly enough, look how also the trapezius comes down from this side and pretty much meets up where the deltoid is here. Now, are you talking about the insertion point on the arm? I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, Lulu, but as you can see, this is important, actually. Okay, now we don't have any skin on our figure, right? Skin tends to soften these ideas. This is where the accouché is really nice. Obviously, our deltoid coming down this way and attaching down here. Now, the point I want to make is, if I draw a line from the bottom of the pectoral across, what do we have? We have the deltoid. People tend to draw shoulders short and attach up here, lower than the pectoral. But as you can see on this model, the pectoral, the deltoid actually it comes down and it's in parallel with the bottom of the pectoral muscle. I think that's a very useful thing to know. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. Oh, that's not good. You shouldn't see that on the stream. Well, there you go. Now I've just demonetized myself. Boom. Okay. Yeah, perhaps attach the clavicle in the same spot. That's correct. Okay. I see what you're saying, Daily Doodle. Yeah, fair enough. Just get rid of my tea bag. All right, let's draw. Look, Lulu, they'll be demonetized anyway. It is what it is. It's fine, no problem. All right, I'm going to start the timer. Actually, need my glasses. That'd help. I'm always confused with the armpits, how to simplify all that mess in there. Mila, look at the image I've included in the reference pack of the arm that's up, right on the drawing of the écorché, and you could look at the écorché as well. Start to familiarize yourself with the basic patterns of what's going on in there. You make a statement which I think is really interesting from just like a learning perspective. You say how to simplify all that mess in there, which I get the spirit of what you're saying. So here's the thing. All that mess in there is actually just a series of anatomical things that is going on that you need to understand. Then it won't be so much of a mess. There is no mess. The mess is in here in your understanding of it. So you need to get clarity of what's going on in there. So the way that you will do that is by starting to make a study of what's going on in that area via an anatomy book or images like we're looking at. Plus, we're going to discuss that whole area within the armpit in more depth as we start talking about the deltoid and that. As I said, this is not a single session where we're going to be talking about these ideas, because there's a lot of different things to kind of cover. So we will look at that mess in there, and we will hopefully bring some clarity to what's actually going on. Okay. Hey Rick, you're awesome. Thank you so much for the support, man. You're a gem. Okay. Daily 2 says, look at which muscles meet up there. It's only a few. Pectoralis, latissimus, teres major, minor, infraspinatus, triceps, coracobrachialis. Yeah, you pretty much. And also, I would say from the front, you can lose the teres major, teres minor, infraspinatus as part of that conversation. I don't think from the front view you really see those muscles, because those are all muscles. For all intents and purposes, they're all muscles of the scapula. You could say supraspinatus in that conversation too, but once again, don't really. Now, it's funny because supraspinatus, I would actually say, is maybe one that you could have a discussion about, because it does create the bulk underneath the trapezius here and gives mass. So that's one way we could look at it. Clock's been going 3 minutes. I've literally to do a single line, so let me get drawing. Okay. I am most likely going to focus on what's going on with the torso here, simply because we are obviously, it's our point of discussion. So, at least for me, it makes sense to focus on that. Okay, arch of the rib cage. Now you can see I'm simplifying that arch. Coming down, we want to find the arch of the rib cage is there. Asus is going to be sitting about here. To about here. And iliac crest going up that way. Oblique coming down this way. Our model is incredibly lean. We've drawn her before. It's been a little while. I really like, one of the things I like about this set with her is there's so much clarity to the rib cage, right? Navel is sitting about here. And once again, this is where having a center line that kind of follows the form, doing something like that, right? Coming down to the pubic bone, inguinal ligament coming down this way and this way, something like that. Then our form turns, right? Tina, you are you are too kind, really. Thank you so much. You're awesome. You're all awesome. But some people are especially awesome. That's all. What can you do? Okay. Leg coming quite towards us. Obviously, we're not going to be able to see where the knee is, but and this other leg. Down like so. This is coming towards us, kind of like that. The rhomboids for a 60s band, yeah. They're open for the monkeys. Maneuver, and it's going to be sitting in here. Clavicle going up. Head of the humerus sitting about here. Elbows about here. Richard, I have inside information that the gentleman that was working at General's for over 50 years retired. Could be the quality issues you're experiencing. So you think that it'll get better? Or worse now that he's retired? That might not be a good thing that he's retired. Although, if that's what was happening on his watch. Well, look, who knows? I hope he has a wonderful retirement. And thank you for your service. Pectoral sitting here. Clavicle going up this way. Pectoral. Deltoid. Okay. lighting on this one is super tricky. This arm, this hand is going behind here, and into the hamstring sitting there. It's a fasciolate coming down this way. Rectus femoris. Vastus medialis. Gracilis. Deltoid sitting in there. Okay. Let's see our scapula kind of sitting in here. Kind of giving us that straight edge. It's not the deltoid. Deltoid is kind of sitting in here, right? Yeah. Digging the quality of these photos. Yeah, lovely set, right? Agreed. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Lulu. Her weight distribution is definitely affected by what she's sitting on, which is clearly not comfortable. And it makes for just that in its own right, kind of makes for quite a unique pose, right? Because should she be sitting on anything else, we probably wouldn't get that feeling, you know, of discomfort. See the pectoral sitting in here. Almost get this kind of like that kind of feeling with it. deltoid. Deltoid sitting in here, right? Like. Okay, so coming up the arm, get a hint of the tricep sitting in there. And then coming into the deltoid, and then coming into like the bony part of the deltoid, which is another direction change. Right, so the deltoid is actually here, but then we get this additional direction change here because of the humerus and the clavicle and scapula to some degree too. Okay. Yeah, you can even get like a sense that it's a part of her thigh right in here, which is pushing against something on that skeleton right in here, which is kind of giving a strange protrusion too. Here we've got a lovely shape where we get the kind of the crease of the leg kind of coming down in here. Something like that. Interesting. Yeah. Something like that. Let's get into some light and tone. Cool shadows. This interesting cast shadow kind of. Coming off here. This is just charcoal paper, right? Smooth newsprint stuff. Smooth newsprint. And 6B charcoal. So then we have this cast shadow. It's really interesting lighting. Be careful with it though. Something like that. Then there's another cast shadow from this arm, which is coming across the form here. Something like that. I always do this with willow charcoal compressed blocks. You know, yeah, obviously, whatever works for yourself. Like, at least on the smooth newsprint, I don't care for the willow charcoal. It just doesn't stick to smooth newsprint. Great on a paper with a bit more tooth. But, yeah, that's what we're doing here. It's a lot in shadow in this one. We can always go back in and hit this little darker darks, should we feel the need. I'm kind of digging the overall look. It's kind of working. Hey, Chris. All right. A little blend, and then let's see if we need to do anything else. Probably go in with the kneaded eraser and just pull out some lights here and there. Maybe hit a little bit more. cast shadow here and there. Let's see. Thank you, John. John. Sorry. You're welcome. You got your name butchered on the stream. That's a rite of passage at this point. Thank you for the kind words. Right. Yeah. Pretty much ready to call this one done, I think. Amarandi Matai, been watching your videos the past few days. I didn't practice any of your advice yet. All right, fair enough. I'm second year in architecture university. Never tried figure drawing. Hey, give it a go. Do you think figure drawing and architecture drawing correlate in any way? Yes, in as much as I think that understanding natural forms as opposed to like very geometric driven forms, or actually this is all geometric, but you know, look, we're working with a design language which could only, in my opinion, could only complement what you do in architecture, right? That would be my feeling. So yeah, I think that there would be a place for understanding the aesthetics of figure drawing in your work. You might be very surprised at what it could end up bringing, you know. All right, 30 minutes. I think that's pretty good. I think we'll take that. Thank you, Gian. Thank you, Gian. We're still, yeah, that's the thing. Amar, we are working with volume and mass in the same way that you are in architecture, right? So yeah, I think in that respect there's correlation for sure. Blimey got style. Thank you, Rick. The yank ain't too bad either. Let's do the next pose. This one's going to be tricky. All right. What I like about this pose, and actually there was another one similar to this, which because of the way the lighting was hitting it and the slight difference in angle, it made the same pose about twice as hard. So I picked this one because it's actually the easier of this pose, although this is still going to be quite challenging, I think. Yeah, I agree, Lulu. Overhand grip for the win. Okay. Reset the clock. There we go. Mila. Merci. Merci beaucoup. You're very kind. Appreciate it. Let's do this. Now, remember we were looking at the reference that we have in our reference pack of the rib cage from the side. Hopefully you can refer to that to help give clarity to what we're doing. Through the way the scapula, the angle we can see it from the side. If you look at that that image that I included in that pack, the rib cage now, hopefully from the side, makes some sense. Now, if I want to draw the whole figure here, which I'm inclined to want to do, just because it's such a great silhouette, but I'm actually going to end up drawing quite small, at least for me. But I do like the idea of getting this whole figure on the page. That arm, that right arm of hers, could that be any more powerful? That's ridiculous. Hands coming to here. Fingers. We're going to really exploit our page as much as possible. And then her knee meeting up with the elbow, so that's a great point of measurement. Okay. I need to go longer. This arm is not moving. That arm is set in stone. So I'm going to measure to it. Rib cage is coming to about here. iliac crest. So let's open. Let's see. Pectoral muscle coming down this way, meeting up the breast sitting here. This is a bit of a fudge, but it'll all come together, hopefully. Did I freeze? Hopefully I'm back. The other arm sitting here, coming through here. So really want to be mindful of the length of this torso, that it's right. Nothing obvious here, but this is the time to get these adjustments in. Some really very beautiful but interesting shapes going on throughout this whole kind of section, but really hoping that when we come to tying this down a little, that we can get Just capture some of that. And I'm really, for the measurement here, just to make sure my legs is in the right position, I'm really relying very heavily, well, on a number of things, but I'm relying very heavily on the negative space and the triangle of kind of gray that we've got in this area here between the bottom of her tricep, the top of her leg, and then the silhouette of the breast. The distance from the bottom of the breast to the transition, the turning point here, to then coming this way, and then where this leg actually connects, because that's going to really help just refine my measurement. And hopefully just get everything working nicely together. That's the idea. But then from here, for example, down to here, I think I'm lower. I think I'm probably about here. And then, so with that being the case, my heel of my foot is actually about here. For those of you who've been were with me for our journey into looking at the foot, look at the way the ankle feeds itself into the foot here. Right? We can have a chance to take an idea that we got familiar with the other day and bring that in. So I'm looking now at the distance from here to the crease, from here to here. Okay, so my calf does sit there, but then look how short this distance is here. Knee is sitting there. We will obviously refine this, hopefully. This leg coming through, the knee sitting up here. And then this leg coming down. We really are using just about as much of this page as we can. Something in there. Okay, I think we could, you know, we got the bones of the drawing kind of in the right place. Hopefully we'll be able to do a beauty pass and, you know, everything working a little bit more, you know, harmoniously, we'll say. But you know, complex pose, it requires us to just take our time at this stage to just find everything's home, and then we can worry about aesthetics. We're really lucky style. Look at the way that we can see very clearly. We can see that C7 and T1 sitting right there and there, right? So we'll actually probably make that a bit more subtle as we continue, but it's worth noting. Okay. Is the left arm superfluous? Kind of. But if you don't put it in, it's almost, actually, it's a tough one, because I think the graphic part of my brain, the illustrator part of my brain wants to say leave it out. Could potentially make for a stronger silhouette. But I also think that I'm going to include it, because I think that it probably does need it. But yeah. Cyprian, hey, following along while trying to use some various forms of charcoal. I find myself preferring charcoal sticks over pencils. It's okay to use them, or should I get used to pencils? There's no right or wrong, really. Like, if you're enjoying working with sticks of charcoal, why not? Right? No one's grading you. My feeling would be that you might find that you'll have a little bit more control with a pencil over a stick, but you might turn around and say, no, that's just simply not the case. So to each their own, right? So no, work away with what sticks are working for you. Then sticks you shall work with. Absolutely fine. Thank you, Angelica. Much appreciated. Yeah, work with whatever you like. I work with pencil because I just find working with sticks, I just find that I don't have enough control. Let's find our tracer. It's going to be sitting in there, something like that. And then our hand is going to be sitting in there. Then we've got that thumb coming down. So once again, you know, this arm was one of the very first things that we drew. And it really has, at least for me, it's become kind of like the anchor to which I'm going to measure to and adjust to, because it's so prominent in the composition, and it's, well, famous last words, you know how this goes, but it's so important that it's right, if that makes sense. No, you could argue it's important that everything's right. Some things more than others. So, coming off the idea that the pectoral muscle is coming back here, can reveal itself there, and then we get into the mass of the breast sitting in there. Once again, trying to be mindful of our silhouette here. Sitting in there. Now we come down to the rib cage, which is sitting in here. So that is going to be where my leg starts. So I'm still adjusting that, right? Just keep tweaking. Okay. tweak that. It's a little bit whiffy right now. Due to her asymmetrical arm positions and the cast shadow over them, the breasts are abundantly confusing. Yeah, a little bit. True. Also, we get this kind of, we get the second, for the left breast, we get there's a hint of it sitting in here, right? Something like that. But I would probably just show the silhouette of the one. I don't think we really need to I'm always reluctant to add repetitive shapes which are really close together like that. It can just end up kind of making things weird. Now we've got this incredibly long stretch here for the back. So we need to think, okay, let's find a narrow point. I'm going to start here. This is almost kind of like sternum, the sacrum, sorry. Want to try and stay away from too many curves. Something like that. We'll refine. Don't worry. We'll make it work. Something like that. Like that. You can get a real hint of, you know, scapula's sitting here, right? You can get a hint of like the infraspinatus sitting here, teres minor kind of sitting in here. Deltoid. Trapezius, we get a hint of it sitting in there. Latissimus sitting in here, coming down this way. Oblique sitting in here. All right, now let's see. Is Richard left-handed? Yes, Jim. Richard is left-handed. Yep, it is not an illusion. But only in very few things. I'm predominantly right dominant. I kick a football with my right foot. I use right-handed scissors. Drawing is, even musical instruments play right-handed. Drawing is one of the few things, and writing, I do left-handed. Leave that hand there for now. Still quite a lot of refinement needed in this drawing. Like, I think we're getting there, but you know, it is. I know. Say it for every drawing, but it's a tough one. They are, you know, there's a reason I say it for so many drawings, because drawing is hard. Pretty much. All right. So, next stage. What side of the road do you drive on? I drive on the right side of the road. And by right, I mean correct, not right. Okay, let's start thinking a little bit more about where some of our core shadows are going to be. That cast shadow coming after the breast there, that's handy. It's a nice shape. Squint to simplify. There's a lot going on, right, with these with this transition down the back, and she's obviously very lean, and we're seeing a lot of rib action. So just squint, find the large ideas, take it from there. So I'm actually going to go back to this line, to this leg. That just looks very uncomfortable. For those of you who don't have the reference, she is sitting on what is basically a replica of a dinosaur skeleton head, which we're not going to draw, but does look incredibly uncomfortable. I think I'm going to start blocking in a bit of tone here, just to try and quieten down. So we've got a lot of noise in this drawing. So let's see what we can do. I think this is going to clean up real good. Thanks for ruining it. Okay, let's give it a go. This is a pretty mucky drawing right now, but let's see. So as is the way, at least for me, I will go in and block in, you know, the obvious, and then we'll take it from there. A little bit of blend going here. All right, keep going with this process. Maybe add a background. Elaborate, Cookie Monster. What do you mean? Oh, in the drawing? Mountains, a castle. Yeah, get out of here. Jesus Christ. No, to answer your question, there's no way. I barely have the patience to actually finish the drawing as is. There's no way. Also, it would change the complete narrative of what it is that we're trying to say here. In my opinion, maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing. But no, I don't have the energy for all that. So we're trying to suggest those ribs, but at the same time not like bang it over the head. Do you know what I mean? Well, thank you, Cookie Monster. I appreciate it. So there's less white also. Well, look, we could go in and we could give put a lot of charcoal on this page and create a lot of drama. For sure, you could. There's no doubt. That's a very valid point. I think that when we're doing these streams, we're trying to strike a balance to do those things that you're suggesting. We're really looking at adding another minimum kind of 20 minutes to this drawing, and for everyone else that's drawing along that isn't adding that stuff, yeah, then it's like, you know, trying to strike a balance here, that's all. I am going to go in and hit the cast shadows a little bit more. And then I think we will probably be close to calling it. So, you know, right now in a tonal range, obviously the arm and then the pit and the armpit and here are all in the same value. And I think that realistically we can, oh, that won't do. We can go a bit darker. In here, for example, right? So saying something like that helps. Just differentiate. And then we've got some bounce light on the bottom of the reflected light on the bottom of the breast there, and then in here, for example, we can pull that down as well. You see how just adding value here and here, look how that gives luminosity to the underside of the breast there. So it's all about relative values, right? That will punch something one way or the other. Okay. I think that might do it. Drawings. Bit of a mess, but kind of working. Kind of working. All right. Margot says, could you comment on the different tone where the left arm crosses the left leg? You mean down here, I'm guessing, Margot. Not a ton to comment on other than I think that they can afford to kind of, like, there's some reflected light on the hand down here. Look, we could, there's no right or wrong. Do you want to kind of suggest it? Maybe I'm leaning on kind of going the other way and showing less of it, to be honest. Just because I don't want to draw attention to it, if that makes sense. I'm doing something I don't normally do here, but I'm going in and just pulling out that line ever so slightly. Okay, I've officially used an eraser on this stream more than once in the last 200 streams. Yeah, I don't think we want to push it, if that makes sense, or to bring attention to it. All right. Let's move on. That was a challenge, guys. I think we will all agree. Look, it's not perfect by any stretch, but it's one of those drawings I could spend the next 20 minutes just massaging, but I really don't think we want to do that. As he massages. Okay. Difficult as promised. Yeah, that was a tough one, huh? Mm-hmm. It was indeed, as advertised. Okay, next pose. This one's going to be difficult too. Where are we at? Oh, it's 6:45 already. Gosh, we've done two. Guys, we've done two poses. What's going on? Well, it might be time to have that conversation. Do we want to do pose number 3 or pose number 4? I'm okay to go to pose number 4 if you guys would rather. Please, talk among yourselves. Figure it out. Because we're only going to have time for one more, and I do need to stay somewhat within the boundaries of the 2 hours. So, you know, if we're looking at like a 15 to 20 minute pose on the next one, maybe we would be better off going to number 4. You guys decide. All right, Margot in with a quick 4. After the challenge that we just had, I'm leaning towards 4 as well, to be honest. So, okay, I think the people have spoken. Lulu, I would challenge you to do number 3 in your own time. I will leave number 3 up there, obviously, for those that would like to have the challenge of number 3, as would I. But once again, you know, I think mental bandwidth would suggest number 4 is the smart choice. Still a pretty, you know, still lots to do. Definitely 4, says Mila. Yeah, that last one was a challenge. Okay. Let's do number 4. I need a nap after this. You and me both. Okay. So look, as I said, guys, I think we're looking probably at around a 15-minute pose here. Okay, let's aim for that. If we go over a little, well, you know, no one's going to be demanding the money back, are they? But we'll plan on that. It is nice, though, to just, you know, take on these tricky poses and just let it be, just let the process kind of happen, you know. So I think her left leg is the supporting leg. It's definitely the one that's pushing this hip up, right? It's pushing her left hip up. So we will kind of play into that. She's selling that contrapposto. Yeah, this is pretty dramatic, all right. It's nice. Okay, so oblique coming down this way. We can see that iliac crest kind of coming down. We can see the asus right around there. Probably need to pull this down a bit, but let's keep going for now. Iliac crest, kind of doing that. It's a lovely rhythm to this. Hopefully we'll be able to bring it to our drawing. Navel, something about there. You see very clearly kind of the deltoid attachment along the clavicle here, right? Coming down. See the humerus coming down this way. Long bicep. Pectoral. Coming around, probably sitting about here. Will I be able to read the chat when I replay this? Absolutely, Canvas, you will. Yeah. Look at that beautiful way that everything is just drops into the shadows. The fact that we can just see the mass of that left shoulder just peeking out. Beautiful. A lot of foreshortening on that forearm. And once again, just everything in silhouette. It's lovely. The peak, the thumb peeking out. And then on this side. Oh, this beautiful kind of rhythmical sense to the ribs. Sitting through there. That's 6 minutes. Ah, thank you, Canvas. I'm glad. Yes, be well, both of you. Rick, Canvas, you look after yourselves. Take care, canvas. If you're still here, good luck. Be well. So I'm going to just have a bit of fun with this one and get quite aggressive with the lighting, the tone, because so much is in tone. I'm gonna really try and exploit that. William, welcome. Hope you're well. Go to the community chat. You will find a link to the reference. You are a tad, not that you can't replay, but we are kind of coming towards the back end of this stream now. But you can replay to your heart's content. That is funny. Not being too chatty. Just trying to think about how I want to describe things. Oh, it's just a head. We never get to see you use charcoal powder. What's up with that? Fair point. Alright. Let's make a right bloody mess, shall we? Kind of drawing like this kind of calls for it. So your timing was impeccable. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, you don't see me use it very often because I feel it's a little flashy. And it's messy. I'm gonna have to wash my hands now. Nice, he's taking requests. Only from you, Rick. Only from you. So what we'll do now is go in and re-establish some of the, you know, dynamics. Let's say. No, let's not do this song. Okay, now let's go in with the eraser. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we're not quite done. Let's just do a tiny bit more. Just need to have clean hands for this process, or you'll end up just going around in circles. Okay, let's put the lid on the powdered charcoal before it gets knocked onto the floor, and it's a whole thing. All right, now let's go in and punch out some of our lights again. See the way that, how effective that is? Mm-hmm. The shape on this is, on the eraser is really it's really important. All right. You can all blame Rick for the fact that we're going over now. So there you go. Now, it looks a bit dotty right now, but we will blend some of these back in a little bit just to quieten them down. It's like, hopefully it will all come together. All right, let's do just that. Let's quieten some of this stuff down. All right. All right. Mandalas? What do you mean by mandalas? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's art. Cool. Yeah, sure. Where can I buy some good smooth newsprint? Depends which country you're in, Chris. Is powdered charcoal the same as willow? No, in my case, as I think Rick answered the question, but basically when I sharpen my pencils and I do the whole sanding process like this, right? And I get the nice round barrel, I then put that powder into a tub. And that way I'm working with the same charcoal. That's kind of the idea. Well, thank you. It's okay. This is, it is what it is. But for the end of a session, I'll take it. Could be better, could be worse. It is what it is. Guys and gals, thank you so much for joining me today. I know this will get me demonetized, but she does have a nipple. And it kind of looks as weirder to leave it off as anything, to be honest. That one we get away with, but you need to kind of indicate them. We can't have them just smooth. Well, there you go. The nail in the proverbial coffin. Let's tone that down a little. There we go. All right, let's get off this drawing because it's distracting. Folks, we made it. It's Thursday. We're almost at the weekend. Almost. And we're going to be back Monday. Do it all again. Do me a favor. I'm going to say hit the dislike button on your way out. There you go. I said it. Or the like button. Just kidding. Guys. Akram. Fadel. Apologies, Akram. I am most likely pronouncing that wrong. But thank you so much for the gifted 5 memberships. We've never had that on the stream before. It only took 190 streams for someone to do a gifted. And what a lovely thing that is. So to the 5 of you, I'm guessing, that have just joined us, welcome. You will find, we are actually signing off for today, but you will find a link to the reference that we use. If you go to the community chat tab on my channel and you scroll down, you will see it will say a link to the reference where it's hosted on my website. So you can have that open on one window and draw along, listen to the stream. And if it's live, you can ask questions. And I'm always happy to answer any question that I can, as much as I can, you know. But wonderful. So thanks again, Akram. Thanks to everyone. We have a few members that joined today, right? A couple anyhow. William, very welcome. And I think that might be it as far as who joined live. But guys, it's been fantastic. There is no stream without you. So once again, thank you as always. And really, I mean it. And especially to those of you who show up regularly, it's always lovely to see some familiar names on the chat. So thanks again. And let's just give a little shout out to Lulu. I think it's worth doing on occasion. Lulu, thank you for moderating and keeping the conversation going as you do, especially when I'm quieter in focus. Your contribution is always much appreciated. Folks, it's been fun stream, it really has. And we will do it all again. We'll do it all again next week. So Monday, same time as usual. Not sure what we'll draw Monday. Well, we'll do some figure drawing, but I'm yet to decide what it will be exactly. Anyhow, have a fantastic weekend. And most importantly, look after yourselves. I'll see you next week. Cheers. Take care. Bye.